Welcome back to Success with Real Estate. Here we go. Deciding on a one-step or two-step listing presentation. When I say one-step or two-step, I'm talking about dancing, although many agents feel that it is what they're doing with some sellers, and my goal has always been to help agents fill their dance cards. The real problem arises when you're doing the cha-cha and the seller wants to waltz. What I'm referring to is whether you meet once or twice with a seller before you secure an agreement or commitment. This decision of whether to pursue a one-step or two-step presentation is important. Then there's a list of prospecting pre-sale questionnaire example. We'll skip that. One-step presentations. A one-step presentation requires you to ask questions in advance of meeting with the seller. You can do that when you set the appointment or about 24 hours in advance when confirming your appointment. The one step means you need to craft a solid competitive market analysis or CMA. Without seeing the home in advance, this can be done if your market knowledge is up to date and properties in the seller's area are homogeneous. If the seller owns a home in a production or a high volume builder neighborhood with a small selection of floor plans, it's much easier to value homes because of the uniformity of size and amenities. Two-step presentations. If you feel you must see the home before you can complete your CMA accurately and express the volume of the home confidently, you'll need to do a two-step process. In the two-step, you conduct your two appointments. The first appointment. You ask the pre-listing questionnaires at first appointment with the seller. It's more of a meet and greet type of appointment. You don't share what you know about the value of the home, what you'll do to sell it, how successful you've been, or why the prospect should do business with you. The purpose of the first appointment is to see the home, lay out the condition of the home, the amenities of the property, and the feel of the neighborhood, and to build a connection with the seller and ask your pre-listing questions. The second appointment. This appointment doesn't need to take place at the seller's home. In fact, I advise that you work to host the second appointment at your office if you have one. Key reasons to consider this strategy, including the following. You have greater control at your office. Distinctions are minimized, and it's a professional environment. Prospects come more ready to do business. It's normal to meet professionals like doctors, attorneys, and accountants at their offices. And you want the prospect to see you as a professional. Your time investment is reduced. Rather than driving to and from the prospect's home, you can save that 30 minutes or hour and invest it to secure more leads or business. Prospects can experience your business. It's helpful for prospects to see the physical space where you work, the high traffic location of your office, and the comfortable and professional feel of the office. Prospects can also experience the tools, technology, and systems you use to expose their home connection leads to buyers and provide great customer service. If you have a team of real estate professionals, prospects can meet the members of the team, which increases the personal connection between prospective sellers and the people who will be serving them. The biggest mistake agents get in two-step listing presentations is what I call the 1.5 step presentation, which is when you start to give information about what you'll do or the value of the prospect's home in step one of the two-step. This happens because your presentation structure isn't set or the seller leads you down this path. The second step of the two-step presentation should really be about explaining why the prospect should hire you, determining the value of the home, and securing an agreement to proceed. If any of these topics slip into step one, you've done a 1.5 step presentation. The problem is that this approach can diminish a most important presentation, which is the second one. It throws off the key points, trial closes, and flow of your step two presentation. It also gives sellers the impression that they've already gotten all the information that they need, giving them an excuse to cancel the second presentation before you give it. Checking your prospect's DNA. Based on your qualifying efforts, determine the likelihood that your prospect will convert into a good client for your business by conducting a DNA analysis. This involves measuring the prospect's level of desire, need to take action, and ability and authority to make a purchase or selling decision. D for desire. Desire or motivation is the strongest indicator of a successful business outcome. A prospect's burning desire can overcome all other deficiencies, including a lack of financial capacity. If they want something badly enough, most sellers will make the adjustments they need to create the sale. The summer before my junior year in college, I painted houses to earn money for my tuition, books, and room and board. When I started work on the last house of the summer, I learned that the owner was selling a 1996 BMW 2002. I wanted that car. Even though buyer, it would take all my summer earnings and college savings. My parents tried to console me anyway, away from the foolish idea. My ability to buy was limited because of money, but my desire was greater than my lack of ability. I ended up borrowing the money for the car and still covering my college costs. This creative ingenuity didn't please my parents at all. Looking back, it wasn't one of the smartest decisions I've made in the past 35 years, but it did teach me a lesson about the power of desire or motivation to compensate for other shortcomings. One word of caution: desire isn't the same as interest. Anyone can have interest. Interest doesn't reflect intent, and it doesn't indicate a high probability of action. If a prospect says, I have an interest in selling, probe deeper to see whether the prospect has real desire to sell or just interest. I found that many interested shoppers are looking for something that doesn't exist. Truly, I've heard interested prospects say, basically, if you can get me $100,000 above market value for my house and find one I can buy at $100,000 below market value, I'll list my home with you. Get real. The truth is, if I find a property for $100,000 below market value, I won't sell it to him. I'll buy it myself, and so should you. N for need. A need is a specific and identifiable problem that your service can help a prospect overcome. Many prospect needs stem from lifestyle changes that prompt environment changes. A family expecting another child needs a larger home. Empty nesters tired of yard work and home upkeep want to move to a maintenance-free condo. A divorce requires one household to become two households, forcing a home sale and several purchases in the aftermath. The need to buy or sell based on environmental changes such as those prompts the majority of real estate transactions each year. One of the reasons I worked expired listings was that the owner's level of need was as appropriate. After sitting with an unsold home for months or longer, the seller's needs to find an agent who could solve the problem was pretty clear. My job was merely to convince them that by working with me, their problem would be solved, that I would deliver a different and more positive outcome. A for ability and authority. Clients need both ability and authority to conduct a real estate transaction. Ability relates to the financial capacity of your prospects. Do they have the financial wherewithal to sell their current home and buy the one of their dreams? Do they have enough equity in the current home? If not, can they borrow a larger sum to buy the one they want? Or do they have access to the additional funds to achieve their goal? If they're in financial distress and have no equity to sell, are they willing to do a short sell? Are they willing to take the hit to their credit to get out from under the home with negative equity? Further, you need to evaluate whether the bank is likely to accept a short sale from the sellers. Is the seller really a hardship seller, or is he just doing a strategic type of short sell? Authority means that prospects has the power to make the decision to say yes or no to the deal. Find out, are you working with the ultimate decision maker or decision makers? Or is someone else also involved? Will the prospects decide autonomously, or will they seek the guidance or advice of others as they make their decision? Agents make a huge mistake when they make listing presentations without both spouses or significant others in attendance. Whether both names are on the title matters little. In our family, we own properties that show only my wife's name on the title and others that show only time. This is purely an estate planning move on our part. If we decide to sell, I guarantee that our input will be equal in decisions about pricing and who should represent our interest in the sale. I'm starting to struggle with these words here. Let's give me a little break. A little break ski. Anyways, enjoy some more of my videos. Like, subscribe, bye.